So some guy delivered a package to my house the other day, and when I went to go get it, he was like, "Hey, aren't you Joel from Joel's Library?" I said, "Yeah, actually. How did you know that?" He said, "It's like, well, I got this big load of books here that you're probably not going to get around to for several months." And I said, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. You know what it is. It's a new haul. One that might have not come so soon if not for the fact that Book Outlet, one of my favorite places to buy books, decided to have a $7.99 fiction sale. What this means is that all of their fiction, no matter what format, is $7.99 or less. And I'm like, hey, I like fiction. I like only spending $7.99 on books. So of course I will buy the the Rise of the Dragon. So when this came out a couple years ago, I was like, nah, man, I don't think this is it. Here we have an $80 Song of Ice and Fire companion here. But instead of being new content, this is actually just Fire and Blood, except rewritten and reworked into more of an encyclopedia format. Yes, they took a novel, turned it into a textbook, and made it $80. It really felt like they were just milking the series in the absence of new books. That being said, as far as milk goes, this is some of the sexiest I've ever seen. It is absolutely full of beautiful illustrations. Like, my goodness, look at this stuff. Absolutely gorgeous. I could hang any of these on my wall. Though that brings up the question, like, they're doing illustrated editions of all of the Song of Ice and Fire books. Why didn't they just save these for a Fire and Blood illustrated edition? I mean, I guess there's already illustrations in there, but obviously not to this extent. Either way, yeah, not something I was super interested in owning, because while nice, But when you're offering it to me for 90% off, fine. And I am going to be going through Fire and Blood in a few months before Season 2 of House of the Dragon, so I do think this will be a pretty cool thing to have, just so that I can look through, see some of the differences, and also check out the artwork. And all of the following stuff I also got for $8 or less, until I say so. We got Mapping the Interior, which is a short little novella by Stephen Graham Jones. Don't really know much about this, but I do really enjoy the author's work, and this seems like a breezy little read I could probably take out in a single sitting one day when I'm bored. So yeah, cool little pickup there. Another book from Catriona Ward, this is Looking Glass Sound, I believe her latest release. And at this point I own 4 books by her, and I've only read one. But The Last House on Needless Street was so good that it sort of turned me into a big fan, and I've been buying all of her books. But I do need to actually read the others at some point, so hopefully I'll get around to this in a bit. Another very nice pickup, and I'm glad I got it for so cheap. We have the first volume of the Elric Saga. This is a classic fantasy series by Michael Moorcock, made up of a ton of books. But the books are all pretty short, so what they did is they made this collection of 3 hardcovers, which has all of the books within them. I believe this first one has 4 books. And yeah, this is a very beloved, influential series. I really don't know much about it. But again, at $8, I wasn't going to pass it up. And hopefully, the other books will also show up on Book Outlet at some point, so I can end up getting the whole thing for a steal. Then we have a new Stephen King book, the first one I've gotten in a while. This is Desperation. I don't really know a ton about this one, other than it is sort of like a companion book to The Regulators. So when I do get around to this, I'll probably read both of them together. But yeah, always nice to bolster my King collection a bit more. So I was short 1 book to qualify for free shipping, so I had to find another. And what I settled on was The Hound of Baskervilles. This is, of course, a classic Sherlock Holmes story. I've never read any of these, but, I always have had a slight interest in them. And, of course, we have this nice release from Paper Mill Press. This, I believe, is a local publisher here in Ontario. They do a lot of classic books. I already have a few on my shelf. Unfortunately, I think, like, maybe half of their books are kind of ugly looking, like the color choices they use. So there have been several that I've passed on because of that. But I do like this one. This one has a nice little cover. I like the colors. So yeah, maybe I will check it out one day. Relive my early 2010s Sherlock era. Actually, maybe not. I used to think that show was like a masterpiece when I was like, I don't know, 13, 14. Looking at clips from it now, Bro. That'll do it for the Book Outlet sale, so now let's go over a bit of manga. We got some volumes of Blue Box here. Of course, I was a bit behind on it, so I had to catch up. Now I have up through volume 8. Probably once I hit volume 10, I'm going to give them a read-through. I really enjoyed the series from what I've read. I might have even read, like, up to volume 10. But yeah, I'm very interested. We have an anime coming out, I believe, this year sometime. So yeah, just a cute little series. I enjoy it. Akane Banashi Volume 4, another series I really like. Oshinoko Volume 5, one of my favorites, of course. The Absolute Zenith of Fiction, Chainsaw Man Volume 14. Don to Don Volume 6, which, by the way, the anime coming out for this in the fall, Looks absolutely spectacular. Cannot wait. If you're a fan of like action manga, action anime with supernatural twists, this has to be on your radar. And last but not least, the 5th full color edition of Parasite. Absolutely love these releases, and I cannot wait for it to complete so I can relive this series in full color. I guess the anime existed for that, but you know how it is. Miss me with all that dubstep nonsense. And for the last couple of pickups here, we have Equal Rights. This is the first book in the Witches sub-series of Discworld, which of course I have been getting into. I recently read Mort, and I am about to read Guards, and Small Gods back to back. The reason I haven't talked about Mort yet is I'm waiting to finish these 3 books and then just make like a full introduction to Discworld video. But spoilers, I've been enjoying myself, so that's why I got another one of them. Discworld is a really interesting series because it's broken up into several sub-series, and you can sort of start wherever you want. Like where Mort and Guards were both the starts of their respective series, Small Gods was standalone, here we have another start to a series, and I kind of like how it's intended that you just pick away at them however you like. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be continuing with the sub-series that I've already started before reading Equal Rights, but either way, I am very interested in it. And here I have saved probably the nicest thing for last. I was on bed rest recently for a surgery I had, and I rewatched a movie that I had not seen in a very, very long time. And it sort of reminded me just how incredible it was, and that it was kind of a crime that I had not read the book yet. A book that I was very thrilled to find at a discounted price in one of the nicest editions I now own. The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern by William Goldman. This thing is sexy. This is nice. Look at this. It really has the vibes of an old storybook. It's got these really cool illustrations. And I mean, this story is just a classic of fantasy. And you know, partially because the movie is so popular and so beloved, but that movie wouldn't exist without this right here. So I definitely want to read this sooner rather than later, and I could not be happier that I can experience it with this edition. Far superior to that other nonsense I showed off recently. So a nice hefty holiday, lots of stuff I'm very excited to read. Obviously stuff I might not be getting around to for a while, but I am still very eager to be sharing my reading journey with all of you, and I hope you stick around for more. Next up, I think we're going to be doing a Dungeon Crawler Carl video, which I wasn't expecting, but yeah, I'll see you there.